here with Noah Galloway, whose new book, Living with No Excuses, just came out today. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Must be an exciting time for you.
Oh, it is very exciting. I mean, this is my first book. I've wanted to write a book for a long time, and it wasn't until recently that I reached out to my friend Rebecca Bayer, who I've known for a few years. She knows my story very well. And I always knew that if I did a book, I wanted her to help me. And then when the time came, sometime last year, I reached out to her and I said, I'm ready to do the book. Will you help me do it? And she was more than excited to do it. So we put it together, and it took a lot of work to make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
And for it to come out now is very exciting. But it's also been very terrifying. For one, I've never done a book before.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I was brutally honest in this book when it came to my depression.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I said the first time I met the publishing company. I said, look, I want to go into detail of my depression. I don't want to hold back at all. And that's what I did. And there are some things that, are kind of embarrassing to admit, but I had to remind myself they were necessary because I wanted to connect to people. I don't want a story that is, a guy lost his arm and leg and then went and ran Tough Mudders marathons, was on the cover of Men's Health, and then on Dancing with the Stars and American Grit, because who connects with that?
Right.
Nobody. The big piece of the puzzle that is missing in that story is the struggles I went through. And it was never a one thing that happened and I turned everything around. It was several attempts and failures, but to keep moving on, to not live with excuses, and just keep driving on and then make it out the other side finally.
Well, to say that was a brave thing to do would be an understatement. But you've done a number of brave things in your life, and obviously writing this book was one of them. You were very candid about your depression, like you just mentioned. Was it hard for you? Did you feel like you were putting yourself out there too much, or did you feel that you were going to be doing a huge service to somebody?
Well, no, there were moments where I did fear I was putting too much out there. As we were doing the book, and then when it was completed and I was going through it, there were certain times I stopped and thought, oh wow, that's about to be out there for the reader to see. And I reminded myself that this has to be out there. Because when I was going through my depression, I felt I was alone in it, that nobody else was feeling that. And because of that, I hid it. I didn't talk to anybody. And I feel like if I was going, now I see that other people were doing the same thing. They're hiding it. And I want this book to connect to somebody. I want them to read it and see that they are not alone. Or if someone, knows someone that's going through depression, it gives them a little more insight of what can be happening, and maybe they can get that person to get help. Whatever it is, I wanted to connect to somebody and let them know they are not alone.
When I was done reading the book, I was very impressed with how candid you were, not only about your depression, but about, the things that you fell into, the drinking and everything like that. I find that to be a very brave thing for you to do, to put that out there and have some people think, oh, wow, I didn't know that happened to him.
Yeah. I think there's a lot in the book that people are going to see. I've had people that have had a chance to read the book that have said to me, that know me very well, I had no idea there was that much there. And, as they told me that, I was like, oh, crap, I done went too far. But then they said, they were like, no, that took a lot, but they were glad I did that. Because there's no need in doing a book to try to praise myself and look like I'm this incredible guy. No, I wanted something real. And if this book doesn't sell but a few, but it connects with one person, then that is the ultimate reason why I did it.
Well, I think people who do read the book are going to see that you're an incredible guy right off the bat. Just from being as candid as you were about the accident and what happened when you were there, from your recovery and things getting you down, and then having like little glimmers of hope with, working out and getting yourself in shape. It's a very inspiring book. You should be commended, obviously, for focusing so much on depression, which is phenomenal. You also were on Dancing with the Stars,
Yep.
which is part of the book towards the end. What was that experience like for you, and what were the challenges associated with that in terms of, did you think you can do it? Did you have the confidence at that point when you were cast?
The challenges were, I don't know how to dance.
That's a pretty big challenge for Dancing with the Stars.
Forget the fact that I'm missing two of my limbs. I have no clue how to dance. I've never have danced. When they called me and they said, do you have any dance experience? I said, no. I've never danced. And they were trying to convince me to do it. And I remember they said to me, we'll put you in a house in LA through the duration of the show. And I said, nope, can't do it. I didn't want to go away from my kids. I have 3 kids in Alabama, and I wanted to stay close to them. And without hesitation, Dina Katz, the executive producer, said, that's okay, your dancer will come to Birmingham. And I was kind of stuck then. I was like, well, I guess I'll do it. But I didn't think I'd last more than 2 or 3 weeks. And the fact that I stayed on for 10 weeks, that credit goes to Sharna Burgess, my dance partner, who was able to choreograph, teach me what I needed to do, and guide me on the dance floor, and tell my story through dance. And the fact that so many people voted for me. And the amount of people that reached out to me and said that I was inspiring them, that motivated me week after week to do the best I could. I was not the best dancer on that show, but I knew that I had a purpose. There were people that were watching me and were inspired, and I needed to do the best I could.
And now, to go back, you've had a purpose for quite a very long time. You've been an inspiration to many people. Just back when you were doing the Tough Mudders, and people coming out to support you, what was that experience like for you? As a reader, I know it crept up, exponentially and got better. But just from the beginning stages,
it was interesting. In the beginning, I started running these Tough Mudders and different obstacle course races, and people in that group, they knew me. So I'd show up at an event and they were excited to meet me. They wanted to take their picture with me. And that was amazing. I felt like this little superstar, in this small world. And, as I would do the events, in the beginning, I remember there were people that would see me out on the course or before the race started, and they're like, you can do it, almost a little sympathetic. But then as I got out on the course, and then I got better and better, and then I got to where I was able to maneuver through obstacles that able-bodied, fit guys were struggling with, and I could do it on my own. Well, then I reached this new level where people could see that, and their reaction to it was like, wow. And it almost, I remember one time I did one when me and Jamie were together, and I took her to do one in San Diego, and I warned her. I said, look, I get a little arrogant out here. It wasn't that I was a jerk, but it was the only place that I felt like I had something to show off. And since I'd been injured, I hadn't experienced that before. So it felt good.
I feel your heart really came through in this book. It's a very honest portrayal of someone, warts and all. Did you find it cathartic when you were writing? Or did you not really put as much thought until you saw the whole book and saw how great it turned out?
No, going through it,
yeah,
was really tough. I mean, there were times like, I would do these long conference calls with Rebecca so we could record it and then break it down. And there were times that I would go through something emotional in telling her, and I would get emotional just telling her the story because it would take me back to it. And Rebecca was really good, so we were able to get it together and put it into words. And that's one thing that I wanted to come out, was the real feeling. And what made me feel good was one of the edits, I sent it to my mom. She's a fast reader, so I knew she'd get through with it. And she called me and she said she was really worried if my voice could be heard in the book, and she said it does. And that made me feel much better.
Was there a certain part of the book that you were nervous to have released and have people see or read?
The depression. I mean, the part that was most important to me, that I was like was going to fight anybody that said it couldn't be in there, has made me nervous. Because I am brutally honest. And there are things I talk about that, I look back and I'm like, man, I can't believe I'm sharing that. Like I said, I have to constantly remind myself that it is not about me, it is about whoever that connects with.
Well, as someone who's suffered from depression for a while, it was so great to read someone who's gone through a lot in their life.
Yeah.
And it's very clear to see why you went into a depression, but to come out of it and then to speak about it and try to help others is just...
Yeah, because I mean, not everybody's going to go through depression and come out of it and then be that open about it. They're just happy they got through it.
Right.
The fact that I was able to, if I'd have done this book a couple years ago, I don't think I'd have been as honest. So doing it now was important. And I've had people say, oh, this will be great for veterans. I'm like, no, it's not just for veterans. Depression is real. It doesn't matter who you are, it happens.
Right.
I mentioned my ex-wife, Tracy. There were other things that happened, but she went through depression. She went through postpartum. These are real things that happen to people, everyday people. And I want that book to reach out to those people.
I feel like you were very humble throughout the book, and your humility really showed through all the way towards the end. And one of the things that struck me was at the end, you said you don't like to be called a hero. And I feel that you are a hero to many people just for your depression, speaking out about depression, for fighting for our country. So I just wanted to put that out there, that although you may not be comfortable with that, you are a hero.
Thank
And
you very much.
people are very lucky to be able to read your story. And it has been a great privilege and an honor to interview you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.